You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michelle Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Out Loud. Today we are joined by a visionary community builder whose work is transforming the way queer women and lesbians connect, celebrate, and belong. She is the founder and CEO of Damn Good Dyke Nights, a Los Angeles-based events company dedicated to creating spaces that are inclusive, fun, and deeply human. Through monthly parties that range from piano karaoke to themed mixers, she has created more than just nights out. She has built moments of connection, joy, and authenticity in a world where safe space matters. Her journey began long before she threw her first party, from coming out in high school to shaping queer night culture across LA. She has woven community, creativity, and courage into everything she touches. She's a cat mom, a thrift lover, a pickleball enthusiast, a performer with a drag king persona named Dandy Frank, and someone who believes that when we gather with intention and joy, we craft something bigger than ourselves. Please welcome Anna Goodman. Hi.
Michelle, what an intro. Thank you.
Uh, Was any of it off or was it all right?
Accurate. I think a few of those things, I'm not doing drag as much anymore, but I'm still a
Okay.
drag king at heart. And every once in a while, I'll pop up and perform. But yeah, I've got my cats also might make an appearance in the podcast. So we'll
I
stay tuned
love,
for that.
I was just speaking to someone this past week who was also a drag king in
Mm,
their previous life. And so I just think it's so fun to talk about. It's part of our culture. I mean, it's what
definitely.
makes queer environment queer, and so I'm here for it. Um, so what I would love to start off with is like, let's go back to like what it was like coming out for you. I love understanding where you came from so that I can, see sort of your career trajectory, life trajectory, and anything you want to share, I'm here for.
Definitely. Well, so I am from the Midwest. I grew up in a small town outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And, I grew up in a pretty like semi-liberal household. We were, raised Jewish, conservative Jewish. So my family was somewhat religious, but I had a lot of like ally friends and knew a lot of gay people. I was in theater. So I think being involved in theater and a cappella and singing, I kind of like got immersed into the queer culture as a young person. But I have to, I mean, I'm sure other folks have said this on the podcast, but one of the biggest, influences on coming out was watching the L Word on Showtime. And I'll never forget this. So my parents were divorced, and I was staying with my dad. He had gotten a new house. This was back when, you didn't have anything online. So it was just, you had Showtime and HBO, but you had to like pay extra for them. And it was on the TV and he had on demand and all that. And my dad said to me, I came down for breakfast and he said, I got Showtime, Anna, and there's this show on Showtime called The L Word. And do you know what the L stands for? And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, me neither. I guess I'll have to watch it and find out. Like he was so, to this day, he says, he said that randomly, but I think in his heart, he knew that maybe I was
He
curious.
had a weird intuition
Yeah, he had
happening.
an intuition. So that, like, and good thing I watched it by myself and not with him because would have been awkward. But, and I think I was already doing theater. I knew what being gay was, but I think seeing it in front of my face and on the screen for the first time in these women in West Hollywood was what really like made me think and start being more curious about who I was. Um, so I was I think 16 years old. And then over that the next few months or years I, just started to explore and this was back in the MySpace era and I was too scared to like, tell my friends really, so I would just go online and try to find other, bisexual, queer, gay people and try to connect with them on the internet. Um And then, eventually I met someone and then it happened for me and it was just like, headlights and like the sky,
It's
like
crazy, right? That
the
first
stars
kiss is
aligned and
like,
I was like, yep, yep, I'm gay. And ever since then, I just like totally started living fully and coming out more to more people. And I had my first relationship, in college. And she met my family and everything. They were so accepting. And I've been really fortunate to have a family that accepts me and, for who I am. And so that's how it all started in high school.
I love that. I'm wondering because I'm Jewish too.
Hmm.
I also was in acting. Like we have a lot of fun, like similarities there. But I'm wondering because the Jews tend to be, I don't, other than like if you're Hasidic and Orthodox, it's a pretty chill religion as opposed to like our friends who are probably ex-Mormons and who had challenging times coming out, Jehovah Witnesses, Catholic, Christian, like they're so biblical, like so Bible focused.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me, the people that I speak to who are gay coming out Jewish, from being Jewish, there's also like there's more Jews that go to into Buddhism. I just think there's a very accepting nature, being Jewish, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
well,
you?
if we fast forward to
Yeah.
I moved out to LA, I had a bunch of random jobs, but my first like full-time real long-lasting job was I got a job working for JQ International, which is a Jewish LGBTQ nonprofit here in LA.
Cool.
And
That's
their whole
amazing.
mission is is creating programs and services for LGBTQ plus Jews. And I became the program director for that organization. And this was before I started really doing my own events, but it was a huge, learning experience for me to start building how to create community and how to do these events. And, you know, I was my parents, like I said, they were more conservative, so I
Mhm.
knew that like Jews were accepting, but I was still a little nervous to come out because I wasn't sure. I really didn't know like what the Torah said. But through JQ I learned that, like there's so many Jewish values that are very aligned with queer identity. Like one of them is B'Tselem Elohim, which is everyone is loved under God's image as for who they
Mhm.
are. So, and I
I
think
love
the Jewish Federation and Jewish organizations throughout Los Angeles have also just been very accepting and welcoming of JQ and partnering with us, well, partnering with them over the years. And so they used to call me the Jewish queen of the lesbians. Now I'm just the queen of the lesbians because I'm not with JQ anymore. But in LA, I know a lot of Jews out here as well.
I love that. Now, do you practice still? Like, do you go to shul?
I don't as much, not really. I'll go for like the high holidays, but I like, what we were saying before is I think for Judaism, a lot of it is like more culture based, like family and food and song. And, I love the holidays and some of the rituals involved with the holidays. Like I love Passover and Hanukkah and, some of these other like Sukkot, but I'm not really studying Torah. I'm not really super religious. However, I just had hot flash one of my events the other night. It was our holiday night, and I wore my giant dreidel costume. So I like to like show off my Judaism, and there's a lot of Jewish queers and lesbians that come to my events, and they know that like, okay, this is a safe space for me because the organizer is Jewish, and so it's been really helpful, and I'm very connected to my Jewish identity, I'd
I
say.
love that. Now, have you ever dated a Jewish woman?
Yes, yes. I have dated a Jewish woman. So,
I
and it
have never.
is it's not a requirement, but
No,
it's
but I only
well,
dated Jewish boys when I was like in junior
really.
school.
I went to Jewish summer camp and the first
I
sexual
went to Camp
experience I
Vermont.
ever
Did you go
had
to
was
Camp
with
Vermont?
not Camp Vermont. It was in Cleveland, but I know kids people have gone to Camp Vermont.
Loved
But
Camp Vermont.
there are a bunch of horny kids that go to Jewish summer camp. But anyway, so yeah,
I never
Hanukkah just
experienced
ended. We
that.
had a lovely Hanukkah, and happy Hanukkah to you too, Michelle.
I know. Happy Hanukkah to you. Okay, so now that like we kind of know where you came from and all this sort of stuff, when did you realize like that you loved building community and like realizing, because my mom's always said, find your passion, money will come. And
Hmm.
so it seems like early on, like you realize like you wanted to connect
Yeah.
people and things like that.
Well, I think so. When I moved out to LA after college, I went to Ohio University, and moved out to LA in 2011. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I majored in communications with a minor in business, and I thought I was going to be in the film industry. Like that's what everyone does out here. I mean, the real reason I moved to LA was for the lesbian and queer community. Like I knew I wanted to be connected and meet more gay people. And I had a bunch of odd jobs. I worked as a PA, I worked as an office receptionist, I worked as a barista. But I think what happened was I would go out, I'd go to the Abbey on a Wednesday night, I'd go to Truck Stop, I'd go to whatever lesbian events I could find, and I
Yeah,
started finding my people. And one of those people goes by good DJ Good Boy now. They actually moved they moved to Cleveland, which is funny where I'm from, but
that's
they were out
funny.
here in LA throwing events or DJing, and kind of became good friends. And in the beginning of their DJ career, they would always just ask their friends like, "Hey, you want to help out? We need volunteers?" And I just kind of got sucked in into this group of
And
women. Um,
yeah,
we used to call ourselves the Pussy Posse, Pussessy. You got to switch the E and the Y.
I
And we
love
would
that.
make shirts and we'd do all these events together, and we'd, go to Dinah Shore together, and we partied together. And it was just like they're the ones that made me feel safe, like taking my top off and just being free and being myself, and cut your hair, get a tattoo, do whatever you want, like be you, be you. Like we love
Yeah,
you for who you are.
love that.
And so Morgan was actually asked to do this event and needed someone to help her, and she brought me on. And that event was a fundraiser for JQ, the organization I just told you about, and it was wildly successful. And so then JQ ended up hiring me from that event, and I just kind of immersed myself in, okay, like throwing events. And I've always been up. I love themes. I love dressing up. I love planning. And, my mom was a caterer and a party planner. So I think I learned a lot from her about presentation and spatial, recognition, and how to make a flow in the party. And that's so those two things just came together. And then I started working for JQ and throwing these events like get Hanukkah parties, Shabbat dinners, gatherings of all kinds. And then my friend referred me to the Her app, the Her dating app. They
Totally.
were they were looking for representatives from different cities from all across the country, all across the world. And someone referred me, said, "Hey, and I think you'd be good at this." And so I got a job. They hired me and I worked for them for 2 years. It was just commission based, like one party every 3 months. And
Wow.
that's when I went from like here to, from little events to like big events. Started doing that. And then after a while, I realized, like I'm making like 50% commission
Totally.
under their rules and the way they want me to do it. But I really think I can just do this on my own. I don't think I need I don't need the backing from them to do it. And that is how I started doing it on my own. And Open Dyke Night was created, and then Hidden Hearts was created. Then I created, and then Hot Flash, and they all just started popping up. That eventually I left JQ, I left the Her app, and then just made it a full-time job and a full-time business. And that's where we are today.
Does it help to have like these themed parties? Like, is the consistency important in your events? Like people go, I loved the hot flash party and that's the one I want. So they'll go like, even if it's an hour away, they'll like be excited about it. And, as
Yeah,
opposed to like, so people, you see probably repeaters in that
right.
sense. I mean,
I will say one of the things that I've always made sure was embedded into each event is some sort of niche thing, whether it be like a theme of the event or like uh towards a certain part of the community. So like with Hot Flash, it's 30 plus. So that's how often are you going out knowing that everyone is going to be over the age of 30?
Yeah, that's
And
actually pretty cool.
yeah, and then those were so successful that we're like, let's bump it up a notch and do over the age of 40. So women in their 50s and 60s could come and they feel comfortable. And then, like Hidden Hearts was another one that we do these little heart stickers that say what you mean, identify who you are or what you're looking for, whether your heart is open, taken, broken, healing, looking for friends. And then Open Dyke Night was karaoke. Like my, I like to give, there's a reason you're going to this. It's not just like a random night out with music. There's like a specific reason this party's happening.
Yeah.
And that's kind of stuck with it. That's been part of every event. So I just did a survey. I sent out a survey today, my end of year recap survey. And then there's certain people that only go to certain events. Like some women only go to Hotter Flash. They're
Yeah,
55 years old. They're only going to the over 40 one because they know that that's the age range they want. Um,
totally.
and then some people are only going to Hidden Hearts because that's a free event and it's specifically for like, it says whether they're single or not. So they're specifically going to that. I think, but then a lot of people just come to everything and I see the same people every time. So depends.
Well, is there ever like any dilution, diluting of these events? Like they don't cancel each other out, it sounds like. It's
No,
like because people are like, I'm going to only that event. So it's how often do the events come? Is it once a month? Is it once every
some
three
of them
months?
are monthly. So there's two that are monthly. Hot Flash is monthly, and that's because we have a residency with the venue. So it's every third Saturday at the same venue, every third Saturday. And we know that it's like just set in place. We know it's there. We know the venue's holding that spot for
That's
us.
cool.
Hidden, that's the same way Hidden Hearts works. Like it's the last Thursday of the month. And we have a set time and space and date for that space. Some of them, Hotter Flash, we do like every 6, 7 weeks because we found with the older demographic, it makes more sense to spread it out
Hmm.
so they get more
Hmm.
excited. And then
As a part of that demographic, I would agree.
yes, yeah. Like we're doing it monthly, they were getting smaller and smaller. So if
Yeah.
we want like a bigger turnout, we know that it'll be a larger demo if we wait to do it. Um, and then some of them, like I just create new events and they're just random. Like so I just did this Dyking Through the Decades party, which I want to do more, but I know because it's kind of niche and fun that sometimes if you do them too often, then they do get oversaturated and people don't won't come as often, which is
So
why
are,
I'll never do a weekly party.
No, I get
Yeah.
that. I mean, yeah, that's what I mean about like that saturation point. With the gay community. It's like you
Yeah.
either just want to go out and hit the dive bar with a couple of your friends, or you're going to a sports bar these days. Like
Yeah.
those are becoming so much more popular. And especially for my age group, like, that 4 to 8 period, 4 p.m. to like 8 p.m. is kind of like that yacht rock sweet
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. I
For at least for my friends, who are of our age. But it's interesting. It's like what challenges when you're creating event, are they always at one location or are they moving around and you have partners kind of everywhere?
well, some, like venues have changed over the years, of course. Like since like Hot Flash started at more of like a boutique hotel spot, but then it was just too crowded and the bartenders were slower and then it was just such a popular event and my audience is growing and growing and growing. So like as I'm growing, I realize, I need bigger spaces. Same with Hotter Flash. Like we were at a smaller venue and then it was just like sardines in there. We needed to get a bigger venue. Um, I think I just did a singles series that was kind of new and each one, it was like for 3 weeks in a row and each one was dedicated to a different generation. So the first one was Gen Z, second one was millennial, third one was Gen X. That was a smaller event, but I know because it was specifically singles that it would be less people. So like the millennial one was our largest and we had about 100 people coming. And for me, like 100 people is actually quite small. compared to like a hot flash that's bringing in like 250.
Thinking like for a singles event,
For a
that's actually
singles
pretty
event, it
decent.
makes more sense. Like you don't want too
Yeah.
many people. Like it's you need it to make it intimate to be able to talk to others and stuff. I think it just I'm kind of learning as I go, and it's nice to have these set spaces, but also I'm always open to new venues. Los Angeles is also a massive city. It's
Yeah.
nice to switch it up. So it's not always West Hollywood, but sometimes Hollywood or the East Side or downtown, or I do eventually want to start doing more things in other parts of town and other cities as well. And that's what
I was
I'm
gonna say, come to
yeah.
Phoenix. We'll work it out.
That is my plan for 2026, to come up with a business plan to start growing and doing things in other cities. But I am only one person, and I can, like some of these events, I have partners, like Hot Flash and Hotter Flash. I have a partner, so
Amazing.
Sorel, and we split that. But some of the other events is just me. So I'm trying to figure out like, hiring a team or hiring ambassadors in different cities and working with them and like kind of teaching them my ways, and then they take it from there and I just get a percentage or something like that. So that is in
Hmm.
the works for next year.
I love that. I really do. How do you like unwind? I mean, you're putting on all these events. It's got to be stressful. Like what's a day in the life of you on a day off, you know? What do you like
Well,
to do?
I am a sucker for estate sales. I mean, if you look at my apartment, I have a lot of stuff. I love collecting like cute vintage items and decor. And I'm always doing some sort of house project or DIY project. I've built cat shelves. I've repainted my bedroom a bunch of times. I'm always upcycling furniture and that type of thing. So I love like a little project or DIY situation. Um, and yeah, I'm into pickleball. I play a lot of pickleball. And
Yes.
I play pickleball also with other lesbians, so I'm still connecting with the community, but I'm not
Mhm.
like running it. I'm just going and
Yeah.
hitting the ball. And I was also on a tennis league this past year as well. So I'd say those are some of and then also just going out to dinner and drinks with friends. I love just intimate, like conversation and chatting. And I love quirky old historic bars and restaurants and good food and cozy atmosphere
What's
as a kid.
your what's your dream event look like? Like,
Oh gosh.
are you coming up with all the ideas, or do you literally have like a board of friends, like
I a
can
lot of the
bounce?
ideas are me. Like I really do come up with most of them.
That's cool.
But I always am pitching them to my friends and like getting feedback and seeing like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Or, but yeah, a lot of it just comes from my brain and what I would want, what I would like. When I did first move here, like I said, I would go to the Abbey or truck stop, or there was maybe like two or three events I knew of that for the lesbians, and I just felt there was no way to really connect with people. I'd just show up and kind of sat there and would hope that people would talk to me. And for me, I'm like, what would make this easier on, a young Midwestern person,
Yeah.
lesbian, moving here, meeting people for the first time. And so I have a lot of the events I put out like games and icebreaker, like Jenga that has like questions on it, or icebreaker games, or Uno or whatever. And then the sticker, like there's a lot of like, light icebreakers and ways to connect with other people.
Hmm.
That's a huge part of the mission for the organization, is helping people connect and meeting each other.
Yeah, I've always said, if you didn't grow up in LA, moving to LA, whether it's for college, it's a little different because you kind of get embedded into into its own
Yeah.
culture. Like if you're at UCLA or, LMU or USC, like in that LA or even Northridge, it's like you might be out very far out, but from like the action in West Hollywood and stuff. But I've always said that LA is probably the loneliest place to live because if you're an East Coaster, especially, or come from a place where you knew everybody, like it was a small town, or like I say, New York, it's you go out your door and you can talk to millions of people. But in LA, we're getting in a car and it's like, and then you're driving and you're like, Wait, she's cute. She looks cool, but you're
Yeah.
not like in a subway or a bus or even walking, in the
Yeah.
neighborhood where you can meet. So when you sort of created this, I love that it came from a void for yourself. Like it's such a beautiful aha moment. Like, and it's almost like a Field of Dreams thing because it's like build it and they will come. And you kind of, so tell me like about that first event and also from a business more of like an entrepreneur standpoint, I would love to hear what you learned from those sort of those moments of like the struggle, in the struggle of building this.
Yeah. Well, the first event is hard to describe because I'm not sure which one would be considered the first. But I will say, the
How about the
beginning,
first one on your own when you
the
left
first one
home?
on my own was open Dyke Night, which sadly, this is a lesson,
Yeah.
sadly did kind of died out because I had some issues with the venue that were, they were taking a while to pay me and we didn't really have like an actual contract. It was all through email. And so I've definitely learned my lesson there. But I it it was beautiful because it's a piano bar karaoke night. And as someone who is a theater kid, you know, it wasn't just about going to karaoke and like singing. My one of the things I loved about it was it's also like a sing along. So there's the person it's a live piano player that you can connect with, and the woman that we often had doing it was bisexual and queer and just, part of the community. So and then people also would all sing together, and I'm one of those hosts that I don't just stand there by the DJ booth or by the door the whole night. Like I am walking around, I'm going up to people. If I see someone that I've never seen before, they're by themselves, I'll, especially in the beginning of the night, I'll be like, "Hi, I'm Anna. I'm the promoter for this party. Like, how's it going? Nice to meet you. How'd you hear about this event? Or how you doing?" Or, like just getting some feedback or introducing myself has always been like a core part of the event. So people put a face to the name of the event. So I think
I
with
love
open
I
mic
love
night,
that, by the way. I love your emotional capacity to like think through, and
yeah,
maybe it was instinctual, but it's a really cool part of you that naturally was like, I want like if that's your only thing at the end of the night is like if the win is that one person, if they felt a little bit isolated or a little bit shy, could make a new friend that night,
yeah,
like that's a beautiful mission, right? Like, because I always say if one person, listens to an episode and goes, "Oh, I like what that person did," or "Oh my God, that pushed me to do like, because to do something new or go out and look for an
yeah.
event or whatever it is." It's like get out of their comfort zone. I'm all for that. So I
And
love that.
I always encourage people like, and I get emails and messages like, "Hey, I'm coming alone. Is that normal or is it going to be okay?" And I'll say, "Yeah, like please come alone. Like we have the community corner table with games, or I'm happy to introduce you to people." Like, I don't
Wait,
obviously I
tell me
can't
about
remember
this. Wait,
everyone's names.
I
What?
love this. It sounds like a preschool buddy
Yeah,
bench in a
yeah.
sense. So
But
wait, so
exactly what
so
you
say
said.
more.
I just want I I know that when I first walked into my first LA party, it was intimidating as fuck. Like like
Mhm.
you're around all these cool hip LA people. The fashion is very trendy. It can be very cliquey. Sometimes there are celebrities or influencers or people there, and I understand that it's intimidating. And if I can help someone feel less intimidated, make them feel comfortable, introduce them to someone or at least introduce myself, then they feel like a little more welcome, and it's easier for them to be there. And so that's definitely always part of it. Um
I love
and I think
that.
that's with the stick with hidden hearts, the stickers, are meant to be an icebreaker. Like, oh, I see you chose like a white heart. Like, what's that? Or what's that about? Are you open to this or that? Or, like it's always
Hmm.
trying to get people talking to each other.
I love that. I love that. Wait, so you haven't done drag in a long time, but tell me about that experience for
Yeah.
you.
So Dandy Frank, when did I
Great
start? It
name.
actually it started in 2018. Um, I had just broken up with the girl I was seeing for like almost a year. We broke up and I was kind of in a slump. And I auditioned randomly for this musical that my friend Gina Young was putting on, and she runs like this kind of indie queer playwright like group. And I was, as a theater kid, I just really wanted to sing again. So I auditioned. I literally put no thought into it, and it was very random. And I got the part, like, well, I got in the chorus of this small musical.
Right.
And so I met a bunch of these other, other queers and lesbians, and I met my friend Vico. They're kind of pretty famous now. They go to Vico Ortiz. I don't know if you they've been on a few TV shows and
Yeah.
podcasts. And they after the musical was over, we all kind of became friends. And Vico was asked if me and a few others would be a part of this drag king group and dress up as the Backstreet Boys. And so, like, for this, it was like a talent show drag night. It was not meant. And so I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'd never done this before, but was down to just play with some makeup and learn, we had rehearsals, we learned the dance moves, and we called ourselves the Backstreet Butches. And we learned like the whole uh break, well, I don't know, I can't, I'm blanking.
But
Not gonna buy it in sync, but I went
it's
that way.
horrible with them.
That way, that one's Backstreet Boys.
That's
I
right.
went in. So
Um,
yeah, it was fun. I had so much fun that I just like I'm gonna start doing this on my own, and I kind of just started exploring with
what
different.
about a drag review you put on?
Yeah, wait, what?
Why don't you put on as
Well,
one of your
I
next
hear
events
yes.
like a
So
drag review?
I have done a few Drag King events, but with the amount of events I'm doing now, there are other organizations and other groups that are doing
Well,
drag.
other people can do that.
Yes, other people are doing it, and I'm happy to support them
Yeah.
because throwing when I have like 5 or 6 events a month, planning a show is so much more work than just a party. Like having like 5 or 6 performers and the DJ getting the tracks, making sure doing the sound check, like all that stuff. And I think it was just, I felt that I try to stay away from doing shows and try to focus
Gotcha.
more on like events. Because a
Yeah.
show can definitely be fun, but it's more like watching something and less like mingling
Yeah.
and meeting people.
I hear
Uh,
you. The events are DJ, you,
yeah,
and the owner of the
yes.
your partner in the for
Right.
the
And then the activities involved in it. But with
right.
a show and performances, but every once in a while I'll have like one performer at an event, like do a burlesque performance or a drag performance. And I will still, put on the makeup and do my act. But I think I just started to feel like insanely overwhelmed with having to learn my routine and the dance moves and all that. But it was really fun. There's a great group called Them Fatale out here in LA, and they do drag shows, and really super inclusive and welcoming. And I every once in a while I'll perform for them, and it's really
I'm
fun.
really digging again. I love it so much. Is like the deaf poetry, like the spoken words. Is that's really those are fun events too.
Well, yeah, I know people that do those events too.
Yeah, it's cool. No, they're fun.
Yeah, I try to
So
also
wait,
just like stay in my lane. Like I know when there's other organizers doing certain events, like I don't
yeah.
want to try to steal or, if I know there's always room for more, but if they're doing a great job and people are going to that, like I don't need to create something new, I don't need to
So for
rewrite.
like events like the Dinah, are you getting to meet some of these other event folks like in those environments? Because I'm guessing you don't just put on the whole Dinah. Like there's probably
Like
parties
I'm not,
that,
I don't put on the dyna. I
no, I know you don't
Yeah.
put on the Dinah. I'm saying, do they ever bring you into like these of you?
I've been invited. I've been a promoter for the Dinah. I know Mariah, and like we've worked together. Like I've been a part of their promoter partnership thing, which is where we like just advertise it for them and do a party that's kind of a kickoff
Gotcha.
party. But I haven't really done anything at the Dinah. I usually just go. I've gone and I like to network and meet people, and I have my little cards that has like it's a sticker that has my
Yep,
QR code on the
love
back.
it.
And so I just hand these out, and I love when people stick them on and whatever. Um, but I'm connected to a lot of the promoters here in LA and also trying and starting to get more connected to promoters and producers in other cities so
Yeah.
we could start working together and um like we did do stuff. I did when I say we, it's because I have a partner for Hot Flash and Hotter Flash, but Damn Good Dyke Nights is mostly me. But
Right.
sometimes I refer to it as a we because it is me with other people. But in New York, we did I've done Hidden Hearts a couple times and we've done Hot Flash in New York and we want to go back, but we're kind of just like on hiatus right now.
Yeah, totally. There's also some cool new bars up in DC.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go to DC. I want to go to Phoenix or Austin and
Yes. Portland.
Denver. I mean, my family is in Cleveland and Florida even like I'm
Heck
definitely
yeah.
wanting to go more and explore more. I just need to try to I need to get more people, more help on the ground here in LA before I can start moving to other cities or
No, that
adding
makes
to other
Yeah, I
cities.
mean, because like you said, it's only one of you. There's only so much you
Yes,
can do without, having your day off, where you were talking about
right.
earlier, like these are the things that fill my cup, and you want to
Yeah.
still have
I
that
want to
live,
be able
work,
to do
balance.
that. But I do love, helping and teaching other people how to do it. I've worked with, I've had meetings and consulted with other folks that are like, "Hey, I want to run an event. Like, how did you get started on this?" And I'm happy to meet with those people over coffee and like give them my
Sweet of you.
experience and like what not to do and this is how you work with venues and these are the deals that make sense and don't do this and I think some people it's helped them get their feet off the ground and do their own thing. So I'm glad I could help people in that way as well.
I think that's really generous of you, honestly, Anna. And so, in building spaces for others, how have you grown, like personally and emotionally?
Yeah. Well, my confidence level, I mean, has grown like dramatically over the years. When I first moved to LA, yeah, like I was the shy, kind of quiet. I mean, I've always been loud and proud, but in around new other people I don't know, I'm a little more introverted. I'm a Taurus. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm a Taurus. I'm a
No,
Taurus
it
sun and
does.
moon. I'm a Taurus sun and moon, and I'm a Sagittarius rising. And I think
Whoa.
my rising sign has, really shows when I go out because I I just feel, especially in Los Angeles, I'm just very confident being myself and going up to strangers and going up to people and just, being myself and introducing myself and I'm not afraid of that clickiness or that, materialistic kind of vibe anymore that you can come across in LA.
Well, I think being a Taurus, you first of all, you're grounded in the aesthetic of a place. So if
Mhm.
you're the one putting it on and you're a double Taurus, you
Yeah.
are going to make sure that everything feels the way it needs to feel for you and it translates. But if you're not feeling it, then you are just like, it's an off night, it's gonna suck. Then you go overthink, overthink, overthink.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the coffin. You definitely know about your astrology because that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have so many good friends who are Taurus, but I'm also a Taurus moon, so
Mm,
I'm Aquarius sun, but a
okay.
Taurus moon.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
so
Yeah.
which is makes me the type of Aquarius that does not detach because of the Taurus piece, right? Because I actually want to connect like
Yeah.
deeply and nature grounds me as opposed to being like I love the moon, I love the stars, I love the planets, but like put me in the mountains and that's that Taurus piece. So
Yeah,
it's fascinating to understand people from
it
a
is.
horoscope perspective, but and those are some fun events too. I've been to like horoscope events where you're like, because I already know who I get along with really well.
Yeah.
Like Geminis are always like my brother and my best friends. Like they're
No.
hilarious. They're just
Mhm.
funny.
And I
And
do
to me,
I do connect with other Taurus. Um, yeah, I think there's something about, our in a vision for the same things and that organizational control and passion that we have. And
yeah,
yeah, I think to answer your question, I
yeah.
just have become a lot more familiar with who I am and what I want and what makes me happy. And I think connecting other people and bringing people joy and hearing their stories. And, my what lights me up the most is when people say that they like met their partner at my event and now they're married and it changed their life. And I'm like, and I was a part of that. And so I
That's
think,
beautiful.
yeah, that's
You should
been
have a page on your website for all the couples that you've.
thought about that.
That would be fun.
I should have made that a question in the survey. Like, have you met your partner at
Oh
my,
yeah, that's okay. You have a new year to start
yeah,
something fresh for that.
definitely. Yeah.
So where are you going next? What's for you in the next year or two? And has politics helped you in some ways or has not?
I think with what is happening in our administration and the attack on our community, and I'm very, I say lesbian and queer because lesbian is like the word that I identify with, and I think like the heart at the organization, but there's so many people that are non-binary, queer, trans that are under that umbrella, and like trans people are a big part of our community as well. And so the attacks and everything that's happening in that is just disheartening. And I think I really try to, bring community together. And so I think even though it's as awful as it is, I think people are really grateful for the community and
Yeah.
like needing it right now. Like
Yes.
it's awful. And like it can be like the worst, another thing out of that asshole's mouth, and it can ruin your day. But then that same night you can go to a party and dance it
And
and have
meet
so much
your new best friend or the love of your life, right? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. So
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. It's a
no,
Jewish thing, right?
yeah. Well, I think politics is what's happening right now is awful, but it's only making us stronger and more
Yes.
connected.
I agree, and I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm very social. I've probably been more hermited over the last few years, more of just a growth and a spiritual journey. But I work remote, and even though I have a 14-year-old home with me, majority of, when there's no school, when there's school, it's like you don't have someone around you all day long. But I think with this working remote also, it's like getting out to, one of your amazing events and just being around people it's just so nice to be able to feel like you want to put away your phone for the night and just engage in community
Yeah.
in real life. So
And you,
I love what you're doing.
thank you. And I mean, one of my favorite places also to kind of work and connect with others is there's a really great cafe in LA that opened 2 years ago called Fangirl Cafe. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's
Oh,
a lesbian-owned cafe. And a bunch of my friends and other people in like queer people go there to co-work, and and so I'm usually there every Tuesday. And I don't even like message anyone. I just show up and I'm like, oh, there's Karina, there's Kate, there's Allison, and it's just, like it kind
great.
of is like a little mini planet, like a place to go grab a coffee, bring your
I love that.
computer, and you know that you're going to see a familiar face and that you're surrounded by queer people while I'm like doing all this work and working remotely. So,
Yeah. So how does it feel now? You literally full circle moment from when dad said, have you ever heard of the L word? Now literally living like one of the cast members.
yeah. And also, I just played pickleball with Leisha Haley today. Like I met
Awesome.
her and a few of the other people involved with the show, but
I love
yeah,
that.
like,
I mean,
and
Alice is one of the
I
best
know I
characters
really
of all
connected
time.
with her character, and but it's surreal. It's definitely surreal sometimes, and I have to like pinch myself and remain humble. And I try, like I try not to fangirl out when I meet these like queer celebrities. Another friend of mine who I play through pickleball is my friend Sarah Gilbert, like who's obviously, Roseanne, and
Awesome.
she's had an impact on so many, and she comes to a lot of my events, and you know,
Oh, so
and it's
sweet.
just nice. Like she's just another person to me, but like people get excited when they see her and like other, famous lesbians. And sometimes I feel like I don't think of myself as a celebrity, but I get recognized a lot. And I feel like, whoa, like this is really making an impact on people, like just by these events. And I was just at Ralph's the other day, and this girl was shopping, and we were in the checkout line and she was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Hey, good." She's like, "I just want to say I go to your events and I'm a big fan of what you're doing." And I'm like, "Cool, thanks." Like, just at the grocery store.
I
And I mean,
love
I
it.
didn't recognize her, and that's just that it really warms my heart and makes me
Well,
feel.
I think like if I owned a coffee shop or something, I would want to talk to everybody. I think you genuinely are like me. I always want to know what makes people tick. You're like, oh my God, I genuinely never want you to feel the way I felt at this one event when I first got to LA. Like and I think because of that passion, it's like it's contagious. Like you're so easy to be around. You're a sweetheart. Um, no, so I could see why it's like why people remember you. You're not also afraid to put your face out there because you genuinely are coming from the best place ever with these events. It's not like you woke up one day and said, I'm going to totally stress out so that 2,000 people can have like an amazing time, right? Like, and that kind of thing. So I think it's just really fun. But I'm excited for what's coming for you on the horizon, but before I let you leave, we have to do a little rapid fire.
Oh boy, oh great. I'm excited for this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Favorite queer anthem of all time for you?
I'm a big Indigo Girls fan. So I don't know
Yes.
if it's an anthem, but I love
You're an old soul at heart.
old soul. I'm also, yeah, I love Closer to Fine.
Oh, so good.
I'd
Okay,
say
I'm with you
that
on that. That's such a, I mean, you got to belt it whenever it's playing. Um, but what about a karaoke song that always gets you on stage?
karaoke, and I know this is a popular choice, but I always sang "What's Up" for Non-Blondes.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun.
yeah, and I ended up meeting Linda Perry too once, and I couldn't tell her because she's intimidating, but
Well,
yeah,
if you know,
that's another
I
favorite.
was going to say, if you know Sarah, then that
Yeah,
seems
yeah,
like an easy
exactly.
link.
Yeah, I'm connected.
Okay, I love that. Mine is actually The Power of Two from Indigo Girl.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, run the
Yeah,
same under the same umbrella there.
totally. Okay, this will be a hard one for you. Pickleball or piano bar?
Oh boy,
Because it
that
probably
is
depends
really
on
hard.
the weather and the mood.
Yeah, it depends on the weather and the move. I love a piano bar. I mean, and I'm
So,
really sad about Open Dark Night ending. I'm trying to bring it back or figure out a way to bring it back. So, but right now, like pickleball is my go-to. I mean, I play like a couple times a week, so
yeah,
I guess I'll have to
I
say pickleball.
live for some pickleball. We're in a
Yeah.
league here. It's so fun. Best advice you ever received from another queer woman?
I mean, I don't know if I could say, I don't know if from a queer woman, but just the best advice I've ever, is just treat others the way that you want to be treated. And so I think based on our conversation, I've always looked at it the way, like, how would I want someone else to respond to it? Like, how would I want to respond to this? Or you know, like I get a lot of, people doing this work comes with complaints as well. You get a lot of complaints. And sometimes I just want to respond with rage, but I'm like, no, I need to be thoughtful, professional, and like, how would I want to, receive a response? So I think that's definitely a big part of it with how going to the events and talking to people, responding to other people's messaging, receiving feedback. I try to, handle it in the way that I would want it to receive it.
I love that. So, what
Mhm.
does living out loud mean to you?
Think living out loud means being your true, authentic self and not caring what other people think about you and living, being fully you and embracing it to the fullest. I mean there's not that's really all finding the theater nerd in myself to create a whole event based off of it, even though I know people look, Broadway is not for everyone, but I don't give a fuck. Like I'm doing it because I love it and I know that there's other people out there that are going to love it too. So,
Yeah,
I
true.
think
It's true.
yeah.
I love that attitude, and I'm really glad that I got to meet you tonight. I'm glad that I got to introduce maybe some new people to you, and who knows who's listening and, calls you and says, "Hey, we've got 2 events in New York. We have like venues. So we're just manifesting all that, and that
Yes.
you're going to get ambassadors and all the things that you want, because
Thank you, Michelle.
you're doing it from such a sweet space that it's hard not to just be like, hey, everybody, go to her event. Like,
Yeah.
go to
Oh, thanks.
book a trip and come out to LA and like hang at one of Anna's events. Say you heard her, on Living Out Loud, and there you go.
Yes,
And it'll be
please do that. Please come to the events, say hi, say you met through Living Out Loud or Michelle, or or you just
Yep.
I'm not scary to be approached. So like feel free to approach me. I'm always happy to talk to anyone, and I love it when people come up to me. So yeah.
I love that. Well, thanks, Anna. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle, for having me.
Thanks for listening, everybody. See you again.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.